So we have seen grid. Day 42. So we have seen grid, index.html, HTML5, grid. CSS3 what? Grid layout.
Yes.
Now what we need to study is nothing but what? Grid template area. So let's have the thing we have created last time. Same thing. Grid wrapper, item 1, item 2, item 3. So style, and here we can say dot wrapper, display grid. So we can allocate the grid area by means of grid start and end, and specific notion is this: first line is first, last line is third, something like this. Also there are other ways. Grid template columns. Repeat is a CSS3 function. How many columns? 8 columns we would be needing, and they would be having one fraction unit. Gap 10px, grid auto rows, and 100. Each of them would be having height as 100px. Now we have different items. Let's create the item. Dot item 1. This is the item 1. Dot item 2. Dot item 3. Dot item 4. Correct?
Yes.
So let's open this in the browser. Item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4. Okay, we can assign the background and other things also. But how about grid? We have the 8 columns. We have what? 8 columns. And I think it is not occupied with the 8 columns. Inspect it. Can you see? Only 4 columns have been occupied. 1, 2, 3, 4. So remaining 4 are empty. Remaining 4 are empty. That's what the grid is. Now we have seen that if you want item 1 to be start from 1 and end on this line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can say 1 and 5, 1 upon 5, something like that. Correct?
Yes.
Now remember the columns. This is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Now we need to define this as a grid area. Grid area, we can say A. Let's define grid area B. Let's define grid area C, and grid area D. There is one property called as grid area. Now why I have given grid template areas. Grid template areas. And here we can say how many columns we have. 8 columns we have. So this item 1 would be placed in how many areas? 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we can say grid area A is assigned to item 1. So write 4 times A, 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 A. And let's give background color bisque or background color tomato. Let's give this guy as background color carrot blue, chocolate, background color yellow green. Okay, so first 4 columns would be occupied with the grid area A, then B, B, C, D. So these 4, refresh it. Can you see these 4 columns would be occupied by, so this 4 column is equals to 1 column in our structure, right? So you assign the grid area to different classes like this, and you said how many columns would be occupied by which area. So A area will occupy 4 columns, B will occupy 2 columns, C will occupy 1, D will occupy 1, right? Hello?
Yeah, can you show me the code also?
Yes. So grid template areas. So you don't need to remember the start line and end line. You don't need to remember what? Start line and end line.
This grid template area, what it does actually, it divide into
Areas, different areas. It divide your grid into the areas like this. Okay, now
for this grid area template, we have to define this as well as the we have to assign the grid area column A.
correct, to each classes.
Both are required.
Yes, both are required.
That's why they are connected.
So first way we have seen start line, end line, correct? Start line, end line, that we have seen. And this one is more simplest way to create the grid. If things are fixed, you can use this thing. So here you can say C, D now. Just refresh it. Now see, if there is a problem, how come this much will become a grid, right? B, this 3B. So if you have written C over here, that won't work. Something false will happen like this. Now if I make a B over here, this will work. Same like above. Can you see here? So if you try to remove this B and if you try to make a C over here, right? 4 times A. So first 4 columns are occupied by A. Then fifth column would be occupied B, and C will occupy 2 column in this case, and D will occupy 2 column in this case. Correct?
Yeah. So why you do it twice?
2 rows. We have 2 rows. Grid gap. Gap 10 px. Okay, the gap is there. Just a minute.
Mhm.
So what is your question? These are the two rows we have created. First row, second row. Okay, I was finding.
You have not created rows, right?
Just a minute. Grid row. Row gap. Set npx. So this is the first row we have created. This is the second row we have created, and refresh it. This is because this make a b over here. Row gap 10px. Okay, what is your question? Go ahead and ask.
Why have you given that a twice?
4 times, right? So this is the four
Not
times.
4 times in the second line as well.
This is also second. This is the first row. We have defined the first row over here. And then we have defined the second row. This is the second row.
How can we identify these are two rows? I cannot see visualize it, right?
So here, can you see first quote to the last quote? First quotation mark to the last quotation mark. Second line is the second row. First line is the first row. Here you can say 8 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
You
7.
have to mention in this way only?
Yeah, in this way only. Grid template areas work in this way only.
So I cannot write in front of grid template area.
Means where?
Where on line number 15, the first line, A, B.
Here like this?
No, like this also, or in front of areas, folder areas. Means
See,
the property which you are defined.
it would be like this only. You need to, if you want to write that, right, it will, you will not understand it what's happening. See, like this you are saying?
Yeah, this way or the next.
Just refresh it and see it working. But why to write in this way?
No, I mean, I'm just asking, like, just like you mentioned the row gap and colon and then
Correct.
in front of
Yeah,
that.
it is the same only. But consider that you have a 50 rows. What you will do? 50 rows cannot be written in a line like this. Right? Even 5 rows would be the too much. Presently you have 8 columns. What if you have 10 columns?
So can you why the row gap is more visible?
That's what I'm searching. Why this row gap is not, it should work actually.
Because you have mentioned 100 pixel, that's what.
100 pixel? 10 pixel?
No, grid auto rows. The next to that.
Grid auto rows. So technically this gap, we don't require this gap. Oh, okay. Did we set the height? HTML body width 100 VW, height 100 VH, width 100%, height 100%. What's the difference? There is no difference. Border 1px, solid red, it's full. So this gap is not working.
Sorry, this gap?
Is not working somehow. What's the reason? When you say only gap, yeah, can you see actually there is a gap of 10 pixel, right? Actually there is a gap of 10 pixel it is showing here. Then why?
And also another thing, you specify that AA in the second row.
Mm-hmm.
Why we cannot see that in the second row?
It is actually there. Can you see these are the two rows? This is the first row, right?
Yeah.
And this is the second row over here.
Mm.
Because the color is same, you are not differentiating. That's what I'm trying to do. This gap should be there. Actually, it has created this gap. Grid auto rows. Let's make 80 pixel. Well, it has nothing to do with the grid gap. When you say it is actually not
Auto means
height. So here if you see, gap is giving a gap in both rows and column. Can you see row gap and the column gap? Both you are doing here. But in our case, why it is not okay? Actually, there is a gap. If you see, this is the gap, right?
mm-hmm.
If you increase the gap to the 90 or 50 px, you will find that that height is getting, can you see? This is the gap. Actually, gap is there. But it should have that gap. 100%, 100%. Wrapper. Display grid.
Can you reduce the size of that grid auto?
50. Nothing will happen. Still there are two rows. Just a minute.
You second row is the same.
That is also same. I don't know what's happening here. Oh, can you see here it is considering. Let's do something like this. B, it will not work. Second row is all about bees. Yeah, this will not work actually. So you cannot alter the sequence. Refresh it. You cannot alter the sequence, right?
You specify the border, right? Only border.
No, the grid gap should work. Can you see here? I got it what is happening actually here. So that is considering whole as a one element. Just a minute.
Instead of the rendering the color,
We can have.
specify the border. So it is setting background color. Because of that background color tomato,
Yeah, that is happening. Just a minute.
comment that background area as well.
The grid area would be the same, right?
Yeah, just comment that background color for atom number 1
Mm-hmm.
so that we can see only border. Because of same color, or you can change the border color.
Border color cannot be changed for the reason this will not work. This will not work.
Comma required on what after first line?
Say that again.
Comma required after first row. Means first row A B A B C after completion of double quotes. Comma required.
Yeah. Comma is not required.
In the grid template area.
No, not required.